work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Trey, and you're rocking with the best favorite vets on the net. E2G Sports Network presents First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So come on and fall in as we get to talking about some of the topics in sports, and sometimes anything. It just depends how we're feeling. But for the most part, sports capping over the course of the weekend. That could be anything, military, athlete, or armed forces sports, professional, college, anything that strikes our fancy at the particular time. In which, first and foremost, starting out, if you didn't catch it, for those who may be, I was about to say hate mongers, but I'm not going to say that. But for those of the pugilistic aspect, of course, over the course of the weekend, y'all know yesterday afternoon, the sports world witnessed the first L taken by YouTuber turned boxing with the hopes of future title Jake Paul take his first L to the younger Fury, that being Tyson Fury, as it was over in Saudi Arabia over the course of the weekend, in which Fury was able to pull out a unanimous decision after 8 rounds of boxing, pull off the unanimous split decision, as he puts Jake Paul in the losers bracket for the first time in his career. Of course, Jake Paul had a clause in the contract in which if he was to fall to the Fury, that he would be able to have a chance to have a rematch, in which is the case. Interestingly enough, had Jake Paul had won, Fury wouldn't have had a chance at a rematch. So it would have just been one and done. Take this L and go along with it and walk around and move around. When you look at the scores, it basically came out to 74-75 in for Jake Paul, 76-73 Fury, and a 76-73 Fury, giving him 3 rounds, which is interesting because Jake Paul had a knockdown round, and he still came up short on the scorecards, at least 2 of the 3, which, in my opinion, he was thoroughly catching them hands, being beat, and all that type of stuff. What's going on, D? What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? What's good with you, fam? Glad to see you information with us this morning. How you been, man? How's that? How you been working everything out? What's good, sis? What's going on, Kenny? Glad to see you in information with us this morning as well. I hope you're having a gracious day. But in any case, I can say Fury took care of business, man. I think he was thoroughly handling the situation that was at hand. Of course, in my opinion, you could see bouts in which you can tell there was, even though there had been professionally boxing, certain bouts and stuff like that when they had where it was definitely a situation where you can see the amateuristic portion of the two, but in state, Fury took care of business, and now we'll look to see where he goes from there. So, of course, like I said, we just want to have a guest this morning. Of course, you've seen him before. He's tapped in with us before. Commissioner Mike Myers from the NBA. How you doing, Commissioner Myers? What's going on this morning?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm doing good. Just another bright, great morning for the First Formation. Love the show. love all the comments and different topics you bring to not just the sports world, but also to like military sports and military basketball. Man, really appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate it, sir. I try to do what I can. What you know what, Commissioner Myers, I can't wait till Cal gets on. That's who I want to talk to this morning. I want to talk to Cal this morning.
Cal,
Coach Cal.
Conliffe,
Yes.
this morning.
No, not on, but I want him to tap into the comments this morning. They keep on playing. They keep on playing with them LALs, and I said up and told them. But you know what I'm saying, we're gonna get to that soon enough. As the Lakers dispatch the Dallas Mavericks this weekend, I want to hear what Coach Cal has to say. But in any case, what's good with you, sir? What's going on? What's going on out there in Colorado? Oh, snap. He dropped off. Oh, in any case, we'll get back in. Coach Cal, where you at, man? Can't wait to speak to you this morning. He's usually a straight shooter. I find out what's going on because it's interesting enough when you look at it, what is being said by the coach. A lot of conversation got on. Now I think about it, it's just stuff coming off the top of my head. But of course, we'll end up getting to that soon enough. But yeah, like I was saying, Tyson Fury gets the W. Dogbo, Jack, he becomes a WBC champion with his win this weekend. So a lot, victories going on across the board in some way, form, or fashion. Here comes my cohort coming soon. Get a chance to talk to him. I get to see if he tapped in and if he was paying attention, if he was at the classic. All right, we got you back, Commissioner.
Got to have a backup to the backup.
Oh yeah, believe me, I know. If I sit up and try to get on it, is it working? Like I'll be scrambling trying to pull that old trusty iPad out. So back to what I was saying before. So what's going on out there in Denver, Commissioner Myers?
Colorado Springs.
You know what? I initially said Colorado before you dropped off, but yes, what's going on in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, it's true. A lot, the NBA is making its as we always do every year around this time, we make a great push for the finals. For the first time in 5 years, the finals is going to be held in a different venue, not in Colorado, but in Kansas. So I had an opportunity to talk to be in Kansas twice on 2 occasions at Wichita. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of great things that that city has to offer. From the venue to where the athletes will be playing. So it's gonna be fun. And then trying to take this thing live stream, take this thing to a higher platform. That's always been the goal for me and our team, the NBA staff. And we were really proud to see I was out at the Capitol Classic. I've been real mobile. I'll be in Florida this weekend coming up. So I've just been all over the place doing, spreading the good news of what military basketball can offer. But the Classic was great. Got a chance to see Cure Cancer do some phenomenal things. That's why I was there to support the NBA teams that were there to kind of take a look at them. McGuire Dix, a lot of the guys from Benning were on team Cure Cancer, and Fort Campbell had a team there. So, I was really proud of the entire event. Got a chance to meet some folks and took a couple business meetings in DC, which was why I was really there. And then, but while I was at the Classic, I was completely following the Pac West tournament, the Chris Crawford Invitational that Dave Anderson. Yeah, they put on a phenomenal event. I definitely have to make sure that I get out there in next year for that event, because Chris Crawford, one, means a lot to me. He's a legend. One of the first folks to kind of really, be on board with the NBA. Wish that we had the NBA around back in his day. But Dave put on a great event. That's just hats off to him. He's now one of the the coaches that can raise his hand and say, you know, I've done a military basketball tournament before. It is, you know, that's something that goes on his resume. And I think it's just, it was just a well-run event, and I can't wait to get back out there to help support him. And then, you know, you saw some of the stories from the athletes and the coaches, you know, talking about the NBA and what the NBA is doing. So while those guys are doing that quietly and behind the scenes, we're really, really working hard to get a higher level platform for these athletes. So I'm excited about it. It's fun.
Okay, before our next question, real quick, what's going on there, trusty cohort? How you doing there, sir?
What's going on, WGO? What's going on? How y'all doing on this Monday morning, man? Glad to see you, Trey. What's good? I see Commissioner Myers, NBA Commissioner Myers, is on the set today. I see it. What's up, Commish? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I think I've been away from first formation almost as long as you.
Not shots fired.
No. Hey, man, I followed the comments. I saw your hiatus. We won't say you took a hiatus.
Yeah.
We won't say you took a sabbatical. We'll just say we'll say you dropped off the net for a little bit. You know, leave of absence, personal issues.
We are a huge supporter of, you know what I'm saying, mental awareness, you know what I'm saying, being former service members. And, you know, sometimes you got to take a middle day sometimes, Commissioner Myers.
That's right. Hey, it's all about resiliency.
Yeah, resiliency, baby. That's what it is.
That part, man. That part.
Because, you know what I'm saying, people, the internet is not playing. So I know they was shocked. I see his strategy now that I think about it. It's like, you know what? If I come back a week later and they still is chomping at the bit like they was at the week, I mean, hey, so be it. But you let that tie settle, it's like it don't have the same sting, because when he came back and the stuff that was like, oh, you know what, Bishop's right. I was like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
You gotta let the dust settle.
They were coming for you, man. They were coming for you.
I know they were.
If the internet had knives, man, they were sharpening them. They were sharpening them knives, boy.
I was like, I can't believe this, man. I was like, all that stuff y'all was talking, and then I come back and this is what y'all do. Like, oh my goodness.
I had to let the dust settle a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I mean, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? I got to check out the games this weekend here in San Antonio.
How did those go?
They was good, man. Fort Hood was doing their thing. I watched LAC do their thing. I put up a video on first formation of the game between LAC and Barksdale, which was a good game. That game, LAC kept the lead. Barksdale would cut down the lead, and then some things were happening. If you look at the video, you can see pretty much how that game played out. I didn't get the whole entire game because when I got there, they was already kind of like, I think they had maybe like 5 minutes left in the first half, but I got the entire second half of the game. But Barksdale gave LAC a good game, man. It came down to the last little bit. Both teams turned the ball over a great deal in that game. But LAC came out on top with the win by, I think they about 5 or 6 points to get the win. But it was some great games.
Was there one team that was clearly dominant in the course of that? Because it was only 4 teams basically.
I think four.
Barksdale, Lackland,
Barksdale, LAC, Lackland. I mean Barksdale, LAC, which is Lackland, I believe. Fort Hood.
Sam Houston. That was the other one.
Oh, Sam Houston, yeah.
The Rangers.
Oh yeah. So Fort Hood had won the game prior to the game I got there. They were still undefeated, and then Fort Hood was playing Barksdale when I left. I didn't get a chance to check out that whole game. Fort Hood, I think they were tied. Barksdale and Fort Hood were tied when I left in that game. Barksdale had just lost to, like I said, to LAC.
I got there.
But Rich was there. Mr. Richardson was there, and I don't know. I expect to see Mr. Richardson on here this morning because I don't know. It was a lot. Mr. Coach Uriah Hunter stirred a huge pot.
We're gonna tap into that.
Stirred a huge pot. I mean, his comment alone.
So you caught that?
Mr. Richardson, me and him spoke while we was at the game, and he was like, "Have you seen the post by Coach Uriah?" I said, "No." and he showed me the post, and I was like, oh. At that time, when he had showed it, it had over 200 comments. 200 comments to Uriah's post.
Yeah.
So it and by the time I left the game on Saturday, comments were still coming.
Yeah.
And they were long comments. Long
Yeah,
4-paragraph comments. So yeah, I kind of figure it'll be a touchy subject today, because a lot of people
definitely
feel a certain type of
a
way
certain type of way
by those comments. Feels like it was a great deal of jabs thrown here and there. Yeah, it should be interesting. It's great that we got Commissioner Myers on here.
And that's what we'll do. I plan to ask him to
Yeah,
get his
yeah.
that. But first, real quick, Commissioner, what was the reason behind deciding to move the NBA finals from what has been the history in being in Colorado Springs? What was the decision behind moving it?
Aside from because we can,
That part.
the biggest thing is, you know, we need a new scene. You know, everybody's used to coming up to Colorado, to Denver. We put our flag there. But what we want to show everybody, and what we've done, we've shown that before anyway. I mean, we'll do a tournament anywhere we want to. We can do a tournament in, you know, and we plan to. That is the plan, is to take the NBA, and we are mobile and we are global. So when you're mobile and global, and you can go to a city like Wichita, which is, we reconned it several times, right? You can see the pictures of us doing stuff on Facebook. We're military. We know what we're doing. We get there early. We have, the way we operate, we do things a year out. And so this plan to move to Wichita has been in effect almost since after the NBA finals in Denver. So, you know, what we don't do is we don't go out and say, hey, we're going to do something until we can confirm things. But we confirmed it. And there's some other things that are in the works right now that we're just waiting to confirm. We don't want to put stuff out to people and say anything. But if we want to do a tournament in Denver, then we will. The goal now is when we bring, you got to think about it. When you bring, and it's probably why people are, you know, might have some comments about the NBA. We had to move off base. We had to move off installations. You affect more people when you can move off of the installation. And so the biggest thing about that is, I don't want 400 or 500 people in my gym. So if 400 or 500 people were in the gym this weekend at Lackland, that's a good news story, right? That's great for Lackland, especially if they're doing everything or putting stuff on. The NBA is not about that. I want 4,000 or 5,000 people in a venue, right? We want to affect millions and millions of people. There are too many arms and legs to what we're doing that are important. And so when you go to a place like Charles Koch Arena and you can get 10,400 people in there, then the goal is, how do you pack the house? And so we have several ways of doing that, and we're looking forward to it. But when you say, hey, we're going to bring 24 installation basketball teams to a city of 400,000 people, we're making an impact on that city's economy, right? They're staying in the lodging, they're buying their food, they're using Uber and Lyft. And so the installations can't handle that right now. They just can't. If you show me an installation that can hold, aside from Fort Hood could probably hold about 3,000 people at Abrams Gym. I've seen it. I was part of the group that brought Baylor to that D1 game on Fort Hood. But aside from that, you know, we have to, if you limit yourself, then you limit yourself. And so what we're saying is, we're not limited anymore. We're going to try and go to major venues. That was part of the reason why I was in DC. We were looking at, you know, it's been discussed, how can we put an NBA game in Madison Square Garden, right? How do we do that, right? Unless you ask the question and reach for the highest ceiling, you'll always be limited. You'll always be doing stuff on a mediocre level. So we're excited about that. And, you know, that's the reason why we moved it out of Denver, because or out of the state of Colorado. Colorado needs a break. And when they want us to come back, and the goal is for cities now, at least for the NBA, is we want cities putting in. We want them paying us
bids.
We want them bidding to put our events someplace, right? And so that's important to me, that that cities start competing for our interest, and I like that.
I hope the visitor bureaus are listening, tapping in, listening, hearing.
I was literally on the phone with one this morning. So yeah.
CVBs.
So the one you're doing in Kansas, when you do it, it's not going to be on the installation, is what you're saying, correct?
We do, the NBA does not operate on any military installation when it comes to the finals and playoffs and stuff like that. We are always off installation because you can get more people to those events and those venues. Facts. So that's just the bottom line.
For non-ID card holders and things like that, absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
Or the people who can't get through those gates.
So when
or the people who want to join the military.
Facts.
Correct.
Great point.
Cool.
So when you hosting one at the AT&T Center here in San Antonio?
In San Antonio?
Yeah.
Don't tempt me.
I'm just saying it's a big venue. It's a big spot. We know that's where the Spurs play. We know that's where they hold the big when they have the Final Four, March Madness. That's when they have March Madness. They play in that stadium. They play in that. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
Hey, so you laugh, but it could be as early as next year, as 2024.
That's what's up. That's
it could be as early as 2024. The goal and the big O cows on. That's so for everybody who doesn't know, probably one of the biggest rivalries, at least from my foxhole, was
Good morning, sir.
Lackland and Fort Hood. And yeah, man, Cal was very. He's kind of quiet too, but Cal is an underrated basketball coach. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach now, but he is definitely a underrated coach, man. And I love him. And yeah, I mean, I'm ready to answer any questions you guys have.
What's going on, Cal? What's going on, Mr. Richardson? So real quick,
Mr. Neil and McKeneath, all of y'all that came on here.
Yeah, good morning. So y'all currently tapped in. We tapped in with Commissioner Mike Myers, Commissioner of the NBA, Military Basketball Association. So, and I know y'all probably wouldn't hear stuff about the stuff in which y'all know, but I don't like the Lakers backdrop. Come on, Coach Cal, man.
He coming at commiss. He coming at commiss with that. He coming at commiss with that.
Don't do that. 27 someone has to lose has to give up a 27-point lead.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It just happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens to the best of the teams.
Who?
So, bro. Commissioner Myers, real quick before we get into the global sports, NBA and NFL, all that type of stuff. As Bishop came and he was discussing what him and what Mr. Richardson was talking about, and of course, if you're a part or in tap in or in around the military basketball community, Coach Uriah, Fort Polk Phantom Warriors. Coach
Fort Hood.
I'm sorry, Fort Polk. Maybe you know what? I don't know. I wonder if you know what? That's what I like to see. I would like to see Coach Uriah come to Fort Polk, put together a program, and dominate. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. That's what that mind. That is the true epitome of what a coach is. You go somewhere to where you are working with less, and you're creating more. I would wonder. I know you've been as we spoke, Commissioner Myers. So
where's that? Where's it at? Hey, here it is right here.
Trey trying to start a pot.
Here it is right here.
And that's the ones that's the
there it is right there. That's an original. That's an original.
That's a thought. It should have Mitchell and Ness on it, basically. It should have Mitchell and Ness on it. What you're telling us? It should have Mitchell.
Well, but no. What's your question? But first of all, that's a great comment. Okay, when you coach military basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't care what people say about me. I really don't. I mean, people can talk about, hey, Mike Myers this, Mike Myers that. What you can't deny is what I did at Fort Riley, right? You can't deny what I did in Korea. You can't deny what I did at Fort Hood. You can't deny what I did at CMB. And when I say I'm saying going someplace and loving the game, loving coaching so much that you sit in the PX at the food court, and when you see someone walk by you that's about 6'4", 6'5", and you reach out to them and you say, hey, you want to play military basketball? That is building. That's what you do, right? But to take it a step further, like when I was at Fort Riley, I wanted to be a better coach. So I went and sought the coaches at the D1 level at Fort Riley. Like this is like 11, 12 years ago. So I sought out Bruce Weber. I sought out Frank Martin when he was at K-State, right? When I went to Fort Hood, I did the same thing, right? People talk about resumes and all this stuff, and I'd rather have a conversation with John Thompson Jr. or Larry Brown, or the folks that I've had a conversation with. And then I didn't just have a conversation by myself. Like I brought my staff, I brought people with me. And so that's what, to me, when you build a program, it's not about it at the end of the day, is it about winning? Sure. Yes, you want to win because then, for the wrong reasons, because MWR don't have no money, right? They can't give you, even if you win, they still only going to give you whatever's left or whatever they can give you. So now what's the reason why you coach? And you coach because you want to have an impact on people's lives. And so, I love.
That's so interesting because that came up
this
weekend as well. So
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Get ready to get into that, Commissioner Myers.
What
is your state? What is the state? First of all, before we get exactly into or paraphrase what was said, what do you think the state is of the military basketball as a whole when it comes to being competitive and competition and players linking up together, as it was said?
So first and foremost,
real quick,
go ahead.
Real quick, Commissioner, to add on to Trey's question, let me add this too as well, because we asked Mr. Richardson on Friday the exact same question. Do you or do you not? And again, this goes on to Trey's question. Do you or do you not believe in what the NBA, as far as Military Basketball Association, do you or do you not believe in the big three? In other words, or guys teaming up with their best friend or people they normally play with side by side, almost like the NBA, lobbying to get players, best players to be on one team.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you right now, categorically, fundamentally, one, the NBA has no position on the comments that Coach Hunter put out. Okay. That doesn't touch us because that's not our league. Those are two independent teams, has nothing to do with the Military Basketball Association. Okay. That's my stance on it. Now, you asked us a philosophical question. You asked me a question about the big three and teaming up and all that. That's why we were founded. Okay. We were founded. We put together the NBA because we believe in installation integrity, basketball integrity, right? That is critical. Like, I would love to win. And there's a time and a place and a platform for that. I think that's what the NMBT was, but that's the reason why we were founded. I think Mike Richardson put it in his post when Fort Gordon put the all Team USA guys together. They all came together and it was great. Listen, if you ask me who my favorite military basketball player is of all time, I'm going to tell you, without excluding guys that played for me, Ollie Bradley to me that's my favorite basketball player. Like I watched him play in Korea, right? You put Ollie, Ron Bartley, all these guys together on the same team. Basically, you're paying your entry fee to finish second. Okay, that's what you're doing. Wow. Okay, so look, that's just the bottom line. So that's what happened. That's where it all kind of like started, and I'm cool with that. Like before and I'm going to say this, I've grown a lot as looking at all the different things that happen across military basketball. We are just one platform, right? That's it. The NBA is not we're not the basketball gods of military basketball, right? We got started so that we could put together an installation pure tournament, right? Now, we've had some things that have challenged us along the way. We've only been around for like 5 or 6 years, but when you win the NBA Finals, please believe your coach with his team can go to the CG of his installation and he can check all those ID cards. The installation can write a story on the team. They can verify and say, hey, this guy is from here, this guy's from here. You're not going to have to fly someone in from another installation to get a coin from your commanding general because of whatever, right? We don't want that type of photo op, okay? And so the bottom line is that, Uriah had his comments, and you might people kind of commented and said whatever and went in on it, but at the end of the day, regardless of what I feel or my because Uriah and I have some differences as well, but regardless of that, his comments, he if you believe in pure installation basketball, then you believe in pure installation basketball. For the coaches out there that have been doing this for more than 6 or 7 years, that's what the NBA is for them. It's for you to come and compete with your installation, all your practice, all your training, everything you've done for since July once the finals is over, when you start your next season, that's for you. It's pure, right? If I went and got 3 guys from Fort Benning, 2 guys from Luke, and a couple guys from Camp Pendleton, nobody's beating me. Okay, you're just not. I could put together a super team, right, and say, all right, this is cool or whatever, but that's not the challenge. Show me you can coach. Show me you can mentor and develop people. How about you bring some people talk about Deontay Claiborne, Chris Way, right? I had those guys when nobody knew them. Mm-hmm. And you can ask them. I gave them their shot. I'm the one who put them out there and said, hey, I told Chris Way at 20 years old, man, you could play all Army basketball. I found Rodney Clinkscales in the PX in the food court at Fort Hood, right? Both of those guys that I just mentioned have gold medals, right? I found them, right? Mm-hmm. When you go find people and you develop people, then that's when I'm going to say, all right, cool. But if guys want to come together, I'm not against it. I'm not against that at all. I think there's a time and a place for it. And maybe the NMBT, that's the platform for that, but not the NBA, because we want military communities to support military varsity basketball. And that's kind of hard to do if everybody has a boarding pass and a plane ticket.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me ask you this, Commissioner. How do you feel about, one of the questions that was asked on Friday, which was a huge debate, or not a debate, but drew a lot of attention in regards to the free agency in the NBA? What are your thoughts about the free agency platform, on how y'all put everything together for free agents?
The NBA does not have free agency. The Military Basketball Association or the National Basketball Association?
Let me get an understanding, right? So Mr. Richards is part of who?
Mr. Richards, so Mike, I'm probably listening. We do 2 different things. Okay. Mike has a tournament in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. We are part of a global organization that is trying to support resiliency and everything. And I'm not saying that Mike's not doing that, but he's got a tournament in San Antonio. He ranks his teams. We have a tournament in Wichita, Kansas, but we have games happening like all over the country with conference play. So we are 2 different entities. And so,
so we can work together. Military Basketball Association doesn't necessarily. It's military. Yeah, it's. I guess if you looked at it as, let's look at it as, if you looked at it as NBA or the NBA compared to the ABA. Not saying like the division, saying type of, but it's just different entities. So Mike is basically MWR, basically NWR for the Air Force.
FSS MWR.
Yeah,
okay.
FSS MWR for the Air Force.
Okay, we are a functioning nonprofit 501c3 that is
Supports
looking
military
to
basketball. Yeah.
that support. No, we plan, support, execute, and sustain varsity level basketball around the world. That's what we try to do.
Okay. So Calvin said, I believe the free agents you're referring to are about guys from bases without a team. Okay. So I may stand corrected because of the fact that maybe I misunderstood on how what Mike Richardson's position
You
was.
will not find free agency anywhere in our bylaws.
Okay.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to NBA is private org, NBT is fully funded by DOD. Got you. Thank you, Mike. That's not true either. That's not right. NBA
No, because I think that fully funded by DOD. So I think so if it's fully funded, then all these guys would be able to get their permissive TDY and their travel and all that stuff paid for. Right. So let's just be completely real right now. Military basketball is not completely funded by anybody. Okay, not DOD, not anyone. Okay, and so I think that's a more fair statement than just saying, hey, something's fully funded. Because if something's fully funded, then coaches aren't going to have to come out of pocket for anything. Players aren't going to have to come out of pocket for anything.
Right.
True statement. Would that be true?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's fully funded. If they backed by some other org, yes, you're not coming out of pocket for anything.
That's right. And if you're fully funded, there's no entry fee to anything.
Right. Facts. Straight facts.
But yeah, we are a private organization, and that part is true.
Okay.
So now going back to your free agent, basically, like you said, Friday, Mike Richardson was basically telling us that for the tournament, one of the rosters, because roster is evidently with the roster situation, in which it wasn't the same as Coach Rob, because Coach Rob was just speaking on how a reference to there being a difference, in which it seemingly is a difference in there's a difference in I guess ideologies or people's, saying what they want to do. Some people want to go play with their friends and stuff like that, or who they, saying who they value, who they see as deeming top, top, saying, well, I want to go play with this guy because I think I'm going to be better to play with him, and saying so it's a somewhat of a different. But what Mike Richardson was speaking about on Friday is saying that now, based upon to kind of like, I guess, to streamline it or to kind of pigeonhole it in the sense is, you pay with your people in which they have, and then you only allow 2 free agents. So there's only, let's say, if there's 70 military basketball teams across the armed forces, that's Marines, Navy, Air Force, and so Army and everything, Coast Guard, Space Force, I guess, but there's subsidiaries to the other ones. If there were 70 teams only for the National Military Basketball Tournament, there's only 16 slots, in which technically 6 of those slots are already spoken for, because you have the conference champions and then the Joe Hall tournament classic champion. So you have 10 at-larges that are left. So that completely excludes 54 teams, if that was the case, with people on rosters, which might have some people that can go. So from them 54 teams, each of those 16 teams can take on 2 free agent players, because they have a team that's even not being in the tournament or wasn't selected to play in the tournament. So that gives them an opportunity to go be a part. I
just want to say one thing. I think Mike Richardson made some news here today, which is awesome. He said that the NMBT is fully funded. So if what I'm hearing correctly is that there's no entry fee to the NMBT, which that's awesome. I think that's a great thing to stand on. If guys aren't going to be, having to pay an entry fee, I think that's a really, I really think that's a great thing for those 16 teams that are going to be qualified to that they won't have to pay an entry fee. So I applaud him on that if it's truly if that's the case, because it's a fully funded event. So I think that's great. But, that remains to be seen, and I haven't seen anything that says that. I would tell you that, and I'm not prepared to talk about rankings. I'll let the president of basketball operations and Jason LaFasciano do all that. But if at-large bids, Basically what it is, they picked who's going to come to the tournament. They're going to pick who's going to come to their tournament. And those are just kind of some of the things that we differ on. It doesn't mean it's wrong. I think, what Mike does is, it's very good. It's clever. I can see some of the marketing things behind it. And it's exciting for some people to just, team up and play basketball down there. Is the 2 free agent rule thing going to happen? I don't know. That we'll know that when, because I think it's a difficult place to say that the Charleston team, can't play as it is, right? And those guys have said clearly they want to play together. If they want to play together, that they're teammates. Listen, no matter what is said, right? If you play with guys and the rules in that tournament say that that you can play that way, I don't think it's. I think you have to let them. I think you have to consider letting that team play the way it is. And then if you say that they can't, well, now you're singling out that team, right? And for what? What reason are you doing that for, right? I don't know the rules and the bylaws of the NMBT. I just know I just know our rules, and so that team can't compete as it's made up in the NBA. But we've said that from jump. We said that last summer, right? We've said that forever. Now you're getting there's differences and changes in rules and stuff like that. And, it's kind of coming mid-season. So whatever they decide to do, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm going to be, I'll be planning the All-Star game in April in OKC during that weekend. I'll be in OKC that weekend. So I don't know what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, I applaud Mike and I applaud the team at Lackland, because it's a great event, and they've been around for quite some time, and so it's great that they're moving towards a direction of installation integrity, and I hope that they continue to do so.
Okay, so we have Mr. Richardson that's basically tapped in, so he can explain to us. We can have a complete understanding
on
what he was saying about the DoD fully funded and going from there. So of course, say Mike Richardson, of course, Commissioner Myers already know each other. Yeah. So good morning, Mr. Richardson.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing? What's good? What's good?
It's all good. It's all good. Just want to clear up some things. Clarity. And what you talk about, I didn't say that military basketball is fully funded by DoD, because it is not, as we all know. But the National Military Basketball Tournament is fully funded by DoD. We're backed by DoD. We don't need any sponsors because we have the sponsors. Now, to say that we don't have teams not having to pay entry fee, that's asinine, because we got to pay. We do buy the awards package. And basically the awards packages come from the entry fees. We give $3,000 rings. We give out hats, everything. We don't go out there and solicit sponsors. We don't do that. We can't do that, to be honest, because we have a marketing program that we go through, in which they give us such sponsors like USAA, Gatorade, all that stuff. That's college, universities and colleges. If you ever go into your fitness centers on your base and you see those big old banners up, DoD gets money for that, to advertise those colleges, the education office, all those things. They put money into the program as well. Most of our stuff in regards to varsity sports is come from, and Trey, you should know this, most of it comes from NAF funds, right? Non-appropriated funds. Bowling alley, golf, the golf courses, all that stuff. That money, that's the money that supports varsity sports in that aspect. Now, if we don't charge entry fee, I mean that is crazy. we're not in it for the money. But as you know, we might be fully funded by DOD, but the referees aren't. You got to pay for those officials. Bishop,
Okay,
you
so here's my point.
Absolutely.
My point is this: is referees. Do you have to have referees to run a tournament?
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if it's fully funded, then the referees are going to get paid for by the operation that's fully funded.
Contract that we have a
What's
government
that?
contract. DOD pays for that. Sure
Okay,
do. Fully funded.
so that's great, Mike. So what you're saying is the entry fees should be, if you could eliminate them, would you?
Of course, we could. But what are you going to pay for? How are you going? What are you going to give them? What are you going to give them? That's what the entry fees are used for the prize packages.
So
we give an extensive prize package.
It's what now?
We give an extensive prize package, over $5,000 worth of merchandise.
So you're basically saying, So what you're basically saying, Mr. Richardson, is basically the door fee or the entrance fee is basically paying for whoever wins the tournament to get the hardware.
Exactly. Those
rings.
So they're paying for their own money. They're paying for they're paying for their awards.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. They're paying for their awards. Okay.
Do you not agree with? Not agree with that, Coach Commissioner Myers, in regards to players playing for their awards?
No, here's my position is, and this is just the way we do need sponsors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and the reason I say that is because it's not about getting revenue for any particular installation or anything like that. It's about what we're giving to these soldiers. And so I think Cal, brought it the thing. If you're paying an entry fee, you got to travel to get there, get the same spot. People don't see that side. I respect that, but I also think that if something's fully funded, then nobody has to come out of pocket for anything. Not awards, not travel, not lodging, not plane tickets. And that's what we've been trying to do for the last 10 years. And so when you say something's fully funded, okay, right? When you say something is fully funded, words matter. Okay, we've all been around and on this planet for a while. When you say something's fully funded, that means it's fully funded. When you say something your TDY is authorized, permissive TDY is authorized, right? When you say that
with commander's approval,
right? With commander's approval. How many commanders are going to go into their? Because Mike, I've been doing this a while too. When you go TDY, it hits a fund code, right? Right, it's going to hit someone's fund code. They're not going to. No,
it does not. No, it's permissive TDY, not a 1610 permissive TDY. I've been in this business 30 years.
That's right. But a lot of people don't know that, and they think you're talking about a 1610. Right?
No cost.
You're talking about
the unit at all.
About lodging and stuff like that being funded. So all I'm saying is fully funded has different meanings for different people. Okay, and when you say fully funded to me, these guys are saying, you know what, we're traveling these great distances. How are we going to get some type of relief? And that's what we're after. That's what the NBA is after. That's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that we're going about it in a different way than you are.
Now I'm tracking what you're saying in regards to being fully funded, in the way the wording is put, because the WNBA ain't fully funded.
No, it's not, and we could, and I think first of all, women's basketball in general has not been given the right platform or even the right stuff in general. So
because if you look at the WNBA right now, they can't even, they have to fly commercial.
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely right. They're not fully funded. Yes.
They're not fully funded.
But to your point, Mike, and just to say, because we're having I think it's a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
what the NMBT does, and I've supported your tournament. I've been there a couple times, and
you won it.
what you guys do is great, right? And what we do is just is great. I think what we do is great. I think it's just different. I think you have different rules for your events and the way you rank teams, right? And we have our way, and doesn't mean it's wrong. And that's the one thing that that I want everybody to know is that once we got Coach Mayon as a president on board, my job now is to take the NBA to another platform, right? But at the same time, we can't be like, okay, well, we don't support the NMBT or we're not doing this. Where we can work together, I definitely think that that's what we should do, and I've been on record saying that, and I will continue to do that. I would like the NMBT to support some of the things that we do or some of the events that we have, but where we can work together, I think that's important. And
I guess my question is, in regards to support, what are you looking for from the National Military Basketball Tournament to support the NBA? What exactly are you looking for? Because by us giving NBA conferences automatic berths to the national, that's supporting the NBA. That's supporting the NBA conferences.
Absolutely.
So what more do you need from the National Military Basketball Tour, or what more do you want from us in regards to support? What do you mean we're not supporting the NBA? We support the NBA.
What I think would be great is stuff like this, things like this, where you and I are having a great conversation, and then when we leave here, and you put I think the NMBT flyer is out. I'm not sure, I haven't seen it yet, but when you put your flyer out, I'm gonna push it. I've already told my team we're pushing. NMBT is military basketball. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. It's still military basketball. So it's going on our websites. It's going on our stuff. It's going on our platforms. We're going to promote it. The conferences and the coaches and the folks that are doing stuff around here, we would like to see a lot more of that from you guys. But I don't know if you can. But those are the types of things that we do. If Mike Richardson and Mike Myers can sit down and say, hey, look, this is a great discussion. Because I do think that the comments that Coach Hunter made, while they might not have been might not have been the choice words that I would have said, he has some great points. And Uriah and I have differences, but he has some great points. And so nobody owns military basketball. And so it's one of those things where if we all work together on this, I think the athletes and the coaches are the ones that are going to benefit in the
end. And to piggyback off of that, I mean, I've heard that statement quite a bit from the NBA side of the house. We never claim to own anything. We're just an option, just like the NBA. The NBA is an option. You play in the NBA. Now, we're open to a certain extent, but we have the two free agents what we're talking about because our focus is totally different. Our focus is maintained about the player, not so much the installation. Now, we're talking about we bring in the all-service coaches. They come here. They come here to see players that they can possibly get to bring into their camps all-service-wide. That's the focus. That's always been the focus of the National Military Basketball Tournament. It just got to where it got crazy to where we started having teams, stacking teams, and then it ended up knocking down those pure based teams. Now, you were fortunate enough, you won a couple of them, but you also had the biggest installation. So you got about 4,000 or 5,000 big groups at Fort Hood, where JBSA.
Mike. Let me help you. Let's back up a little bit. I built that team from the ground up, player by player. Okay. Yeah, I had 4,000 or 5,000 people to choose from because it's the largest installation, but it's the most deployed installation. Okay. So let's put some realistic, let's be realistic. And I am a basketball coach, right? I'm Commissioner Myers and all that, but from jump, I'm a basketball coach. I go out and I recruit talent, and that's what I do. And so when you say I had, the most whatever, there were games where I went on the road with 5 players from Fort Hood. Okay, so that doesn't. If I'm the largest military basketball team, yeah,
I'm not discrediting your accolades whatsoever.
But I'm the last coach to win your tournament pure, right? With no asterisks, no marks, every ID card holder, everybody. Yeah, you can think about it, but I'm the last coach to do that, right? And so
no, you're not.
What I say to you is
Uriah Hunter is.
What's that?
They're the current champions. Fort Hood.
He said Uriah Hunter is. He said Coach Hunter is.
No, and you can ask. You can. It's not true, and you can ask Uriah. Okay. So, but I will leave that at that. What we're saying here is, what we're going to say here is that I support the NMBT. We do the NBA support. Mike, you're doing an exceptional job with keeping the tournament running. Okay. You and Dwayne, you guys know. I mean, we can talk a lot of stuff, and a lot of the angst from years back, from years in the past. It's like, it's just building and us getting to know each other. And now that, things are different, we have to work together. And I'm saying this to everybody, we have to work together, or we're going to be extinct, right? They're already putting, nobody said that, but when I got to Myers, there was gym equipment on the floors. And in some places, there's still gym equipment on the floors. And so we have to work together to make this thing right. And what I also would say, some people, we got to stop being petty. We have to stop being petty. If I say something about Uriah Hunter and then someone tags Uriah Hunter, oh, did you hear what Coach? I know what I'm talking about when it comes to a pure team. And I'm saying it's not about winning or losing. It's about what we're doing for these service members. If the NMBT is an option for people and to go and do something, I encourage it, and we're going to push it, Mike. That's what I'm saying. We are going to push it.
I have one question. One question, since you've been harping on this pure team, this pure roster. How does Colorado military basketball become a pure roster? What installation does that represent? The whole state of Colorado?
So Mike, if you want to put my business out there, I can. We can go there. We can do that right now.
I'm just saying, what business does that make? You got right now. You have a team.
So here's what I'll tell you. You're not here in Colorado, Mike. You're not here. You don't know that.
Well, let's take CMB out. So because all of them are doing that now. You have about 6-7 teams like that.
Right. Okay, so because when you go
military basketball, what does that represent? What installation? Is that Fort Bliss, or is it just West Texas? Texas is the largest state in the United States. So can you just grab anybody from anywhere that you consider West Texas and say, hey, they're representing West Texas?
If you look at our bylaws, Mike, I think you'll see that we have restrictions on those teams can't use that installation's name. Okay. So if you shut down Marcus Hollins right now, right, you shut him down. Okay. You said you get the order from FSS, the wing, and they say no more varsity sports basketball, right? Marcus Hollins has still got 14, 15 guys that want to play basketball. What's he going to be called, Mike? San Antonio military basketball. He's got to be called something. You can't stop the game just because you're not supported by MWR. And that's my point. And you know what? That's what you asked me where I need your help, Mike. That's where we need your help, Mike. You're a sports director. You can go and talk to these people about stuff like that.
Yeah, and I do. But the other piece
I would have liked. Here's the thing.
You just
Colorado
told me
military basketball. Wait,
Words
Colorado
mean something.
military basketball is a group of guys that wanted to play in the NBA.
I get that. But my question is, just like you just said, words mean something. Fully funded means something. When you say pure teams, pure roster means something.
Sure.
But you cannot say you're a pure team if your team name is West Texas Military Basketball. So that means everybody in the military can play. That's
West Texas.
No,
so I think
that's not what that means. And now here's the reason why it's not what it means. What it means is that base team can't. And Mike, to be honest with you, you don't know our bylaws, and so Jason can probably send those to you. But Al Mayon can't go pick up everybody from different states or different places. He's got to stay geographically to Fort Bliss military. He's got to stay glued to the Fort Bliss military community. That's a community basketball team. He just can't use the name Fort Bliss. So, or he chooses not to. But that's his prerogative, and that's his team. And so I'm not going to speak on Fort Bliss or what Coach Mayon does for his team. All I can tell you is military basketball is getting played in that military installation or military community. And so that's the difference between that. And that's what CMB is, Mike. Because when people call up here to Colorado and try to blackball somebody and say, hey, don't let them use the gym at Peterson. Don't let them use the gym at Fort Carson. Don't let them use the gym at the Air Force Academy. Basketball still got played. That's what I'm saying. And it's a struggle for coaches out there that don't have the funding, that don't have it. And then we have sports directors that say, hey, you know what? We're not going to, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, right? We're being counterproductive to each other. I don't call down to the wing or anybody and say anything about Lackland or anything like that. And I, as a coach who had got here in 2018 and was offered the job at Carson, I didn't appreciate people calling on the phone to the sports office or doing whatever to say, hey, you know what? We're going to shut this guy out of everything. And then there were people who knew I was coming, wanted to play in the NBA. And that's what happened. So I get it. I understand that there's frustration there, and there's like West Texas military basketball, and Oklahoma had one. And that's because of you guys, Mike. You guys can help that. You guys can affect that. The sports office can say, hey, you know what? Maybe we can't give them the name, but we can at least let them practice. Maybe we can't give them this, but we can at least help them with what they want to do. And that's the bottom line. That's where we need your help, Mike. We need your help to impact your brethren on your side of the house. If you need anything from me, you said you don't need sponsorships, but it would be nice to offer some or to give you some. Whatever we can do to put this on a higher platform, I think that's what we should be doing. I don't think we should be working against each other. And I don't even have anything to do with eligibility, as Coach Conley just said. The council checks every team. They check every roster. There's no stacked teams like that. That's just not happening anymore. So I understand your point, and I think I hope I've answered your question.
So,
CMB has to pick. They have to pick, where they're going to be. But in Colorado Springs, they don't support the bases don't support the NBA. And I ask you why, Mike. I'm asking you personally why.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not what they told me.
I will have a question.
I've been told that you're a big Air Force, Mike. I've been told that big Air Force doesn't support the NBA. I've been told so many things, and you know what? Since I'm on the doggone doorstep of retirement, I'm good. I'm not like I've learned in the last few months that we have to work together, and I'm open to working with you and Dwayne, whoever, about trying to build and support military basketball, man. That's the bottom line.
Well, let's get back to I'm big.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. Hey, woo! Because if I was big Air Force, man.
Mike, I've heard that on several occasions, Mike. Mike, people put your name out. People say Mike Myers said this, Mike Myers said that, but they say you big Air Force. like the all Air Force team, all that stuff. You just said on the show you bring the all service guys down there. You know, I didn't know that was. I'm gonna hit you with this now. I'm gonna shut up. I ain't gonna say nothing. All right. I love all service. Right. That's 96 people, Mike. 96 people get selected for all service. 12 on each team. 48 men, 48 women. Right. This weekend, we probably have more people play military basketball in conference games than all-service tournament. And that's what it's about. It's not about the all-service tournament, man. You know, I love that, you know, but I think at the end of the day, what our goal is to bring military basketball to as many military basketball athletes, soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen that we can. That is our goal. That's our mission statement, Mike. I don't care about all service.
If I wait,
I love
quick,
it. I think it's great. I think people should be able to. If you get selected to do that because of the platform that we're providing, then definitely, I support it. I want the all service coaches at the NBA Finals, Mike. I need some help with that, Mike. That's what I love. That I love to have the all service coaches at the NBA Finals to watch the best installation military basketball teams duke it out in a 24-team tournament. And I'm gonna put them next to the D1 coaches and the NAIA coaches that we're inviting to this event as well.
Well,
let's do that.
Part of it is this: you have Paris. He's an all-service coach. He's probably gonna be playing in your tournament, and I'm pretty sure Coach Mitchell out in Marine Corps, they're gonna be there too. Army is there represented. Y'all have had the all-service coaches. You just ain't had the Air Force coaches.
And why is that, Mike? And why is that, Mike?
Because I'm busy.
Okay. Got it.
When y'all had y'all tournament, I wasn't even in the country.
Okay.
We were doing system stuff.
You're busy. Mike, you know what, Mike? I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the coaches around the country are busy, Mike. They're volunteering to come to your tournament, Mike. They volunteer. They spend their own money. They spend their own dime to come to your tournament, Mike. Right? The least we could do is support them, and that's what I try to do, Mike. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I will tell you this, Mike. It's a reason why they come to my tournament. Apparently, if they like what they want, because MWR, we are a service community. We serve morale, welfare, recreation. That's what we do.
I know what it's
so they come here because they want to come here.
Okay.
Part of it is the reason why they make a big deal about the rankings is because they want to come here. They want to come to the tournament.
Okay.
The thing is, the rankings, guess who picks the teams? I'm picking the team. It's my tournament.
I'm glad you went on record to say that. I love it. I appreciate that.
It's my tournament. I've always said that.
Yes.
It's my tournament.
That's good.
It's my tournament.
Mike, you have no disagreement.
That's why it's not an open tournament. It's invitation only. You can look on the flyer. Okay. It says that. Okay. So guess what? The 16 best teams that I feel are the best teams, have the best rosters, that's who I'm going to invite. And if they can't come, so be it. We'll go to the next team. Okay. But no matter what, we will have 16 teams in the National Military Basketball Tournament.
Okay. Mike, I'm good. Listen, you do what you do. I don't
say anything about the NBA. I don't. You hit the nail on the head when you opened. You do what you do, and we do what we do. I only host one tournament. You host a whole season.
That's right.
I host one tournament. I just watch the games, and then I decide who I think are the best teams from the games that I see. That's it. That's why I said it was totally subjective. Everything that I say is in writing. I stand by everything I say. I don't run and hide. I don't duck. I tell you what I need to tell you.
Okay.
And that's why I asked to drop this doggone link so I can come on here and defend myself in person.
Well, Mike, first of all, I'm not attacking you. I'm not attacking you, Mike.
So I don't worry about it. Now, but you took me there.
But Mike, first of all, nobody's taking you anywhere.
Don't get it twisted.
You what?
I
You okay? Are you okay?
But I can also be gutter. Don't get it twisted.
Listen, nobody's getting it twisted, Mike.
It'll get ugly, and you don't want that.
So of course, no
what
one
don't I
wants
want,
that.
Mike?
No one wants any of that. So I want to get.
No. Hold on, guys. Y'all. I mean, can I respond?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so first and foremost.
But before we get to that, yeah.
Coach, again, so y'all actually having a pretty good discussion. So,
right.
In my opinion, you know what I'm saying, because I mean, everyone's from different areas or whatever case like that. So whoever might have a certain ideal of what gutter is, whatever case like that, that's never the mind, because at this point, y'all having an actually good discussion. I hear a bunch of things where it's like, you know what I'm saying, we can sit up and do, and you know, I'll be first and foremost, I try to keep it alleviate, but it be our own people. And like we see Coach parents saying this is why we can't move forward. It's unnecessary in my opinion. And I haven't only, like I said, if I followed the NBA, and me and Mr. Myers talked a while on Saturday. I followed the NBA from his onset. I didn't know it was his onset until we spoke the other day, and I followed it. Upon getting into this, then I started finding out with the NMBT, because when I was in the service, I didn't even know. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what you just saw here, what Paris said, what you just saw is the reason why we can't move forward. It is because it's cliquish, right? It's cliquish. It's if you support this person, you can't do this. And then Mike, to be honest with you, no one said anything to you about getting gutter or anything like that, or being unprofessional. You just got real unprofessional on the whole broadcast. Nobody's saying nothing to you about attacking you personally or saying, all I asked you for was support. That's it, man. And you feel like, for whatever reason, you feel like you have to defend yourself or get gutter, or you can take it there. I really don't care. Okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff we could put out in the streets. We could put a whole bunch of information out there. That's not the whole point of this broadcast, Mike. The point of this whole thing, or for you coming on, you come on to defend yourself. This is not defending yourself. We were getting clarity. You were saying, hey, the tournament is fully funded. It's not. Fully funded means a whole lot of different things. That's all I was saying, right? And you're saying to me, well, we don't need sponsors, and we don't need this, and we don't need that. And that's fine. We kind of worked it out. But like, what you're just doing right now is like, acting in a way that, okay, you feel like you have to defend yourself and be unprofessional. I'm never going to do that, Mike. I'm never going to be that way with you. I'm always going to come back to you and say, hey, you know what? All right, cool. No problem. When you called me and said, hey, you're going to do the NBA finals on this date, I think we're going to have a conflict. I was like, I don't know. I'm listening to you, right? I'm trying to deconflict things and move things forward. And I just said that we support your tournament, that we support what the NMBT does. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would like to see you do a better job of supporting military basketball from our side of the house. That's all I'm saying, Mike. And you could do that, but you don't. Like, it's apparent. Like, it's apparent. The top 16 teams that are on your rankings that are supposed to come, like from the last one I saw, like none of the NBA teams were ranked above 16. You got your rankings, and I know that's what you're saying, but your rankings, you got people that got beat by teams like at the Classic, right? And they should be ranked higher. And everyone's like, well, this you could do a better job of using your subjectivity, and but making some things a little more clear for the people that are doing that. But at the end of the day, you're a brother, and you are doing a great job with military basketball as it relates to the NMBT. And I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying we do something different. I'm not going to get gutter with you or anything like that, because that's just not me. I'm not going to be that way. I didn't come on here to attack you, Mike.
I think some of the disconnect from what I see because of Bleeing is basically, I mean, he's on a higher status, but basically me and Mike do the same job, MWR. So me, as from working MWR from the Army aspect, my hands are tied. There's only so much of which I can do from my aspect, from what I see. It's only so much I could do. Now, I'm very sure, of course, Mike is the Air Force, a little different than the Army. He's JB Lackland, completely different from Fort Polk, which is a different. Yeah. So it's a lot different. So from when I look at it, I'm listening to it, and like Coach Commissioner Meyer stated, he's a nonprofit organization. He doesn't have the only boundaries is himself for the most part. DOD has boundaries in which like I said, I don't know. I just give it from my standpoint when I look at it is I'm very sure there's a difference, but there is true. It's two different programs, it seems like it's the same program. It's two different organizations trying to meet at the same point to basically push forward military basketball. Within
the parameters of what the government allows you to do.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of hurdles and stuff like that, in which the points start to meet. And that's where the friction's at. So how, initially my mindset was like, how do we get past the whole thing of which the competitiveness or what the competitiveness is? But honestly, what I see is how do we get past it's other stuff before the competitiveness, and how do we get past the work together stuff and everything like that? Like, where do we get to that part at?
To be honest with you, Trey.
Yes, sir.
Some people got to let some of this stuff go. They got to let they got to let go of the past, right? Mike had a post that was out there on the NBT page, or he came on here and he was talking about what happened with Fort Gordon, and how what kind of triggered the NBA, right? And I have to be an adult and be like, just because there was a tournament that we didn't like, that doesn't mean that we go and tear down what Mike and Dwayne were doing. And we didn't do that. We didn't try to do that. As a matter of fact, when Cal won his championship, in my comments to him, I said, hey, go down the Nationals and try and win that one too, right? That's what we did at our first tournament. But what happens is people put posts out there and say stuff about military basketball. I've had people say I'm a non-basketball, I'm a non-hooper. I see it and I don't really say nothing to it. So you know what, Mike, to be honest, I kind of understand your frustration and you blowing up at me because you probably seen some things or heard some things that I've either said or done, and maybe that it gets to a boiling point. Well, I'm the same way. I'm just not going to come on a show and get say what I say privately. But I will tell you that we have to let some of these things go, right? Nobody owns this game. This game is for our soldiers and our military athletes. And MWR has guidelines. I agree, right? And there are things that Mike can do from the DoD standpoint within the DoD that we can't do, right? On installations, right? There are things that Mike can't do because he's going to be tied up with JAG reviews for 7 or 8 months. Just that I can do review. That I can do and get done in like maybe a week or 2 weeks. And so so how do we come together and how do we work together? And the point that was made was this: the NMDT and guys teaming up, and maybe that's the platform for that. Maybe that's the platform for that. But
don't see Deontay Claymore.
What did he say? What did Claymore say?
Because that's all at this point I can offer our varsity program is gyms and basketballs. Like, and so Deontay,
basketballs coming.
Yeah. Hey, when y'all basketballs get in, Claymore, I'll be sure to hit you up and let you know, hey, y'all balls are in. We need to schedule when y'all gonna get into the gym to practice. I don't know where y'all practice.
Are they Wilsons or Baddens?
No, we gonna get some Wilsons. I think what's the evolutions? Some Wilson evolutions. We gonna be sure to get. But when they come in, Deontay, I'll be sure to let you know.
That's sad, man.
Okay, so
it is that part. Like you said, it's so sad. I can't. I'm
gonna come on here. I'm gonna apologize to Mike for losing my cool there. I apologize. That was a bit out of line. That went way left. It shouldn't have went that way.
It's whatever, man. It's whatever. Listen, Mike. Mike, I apologize if I hit a trigger point where I said something in this broadcast that triggered you or made you feel upset or you felt like I was attacking you, man. That's not the point. And for the two people that are on, really doing great things in military basketball. That's not the point of this conversation.
Yeah. But for the
We're supposed to
record,
be talking about Uriah Hunter's comments.
Yeah, well, you're right. As y'all see, when we appreciate both of y'all mics, y'all should be getting along.
Which I don't disagree with.
Yeah, y'all got the same names. I don't know how y'all could be at such disagreements, but either way, we supposed to be talking about Uriah Hunter's.
No, it was something that needed to happen. Honestly,
it did.
Honestly, I've been sitting up and thinking, like I keep on saying, I was gonna go down to nationals, in which I would hope that they both would be in the room, and because honestly, this is the same thing. Like when I talked to Commissioner Myers the other day, and when I first got into my military fraternity, Cyber 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated, I did the same thing with the founders of my organization in reference to something similar almost. And it's just me. Like the disconnect and stuff like that is unnecessary, especially when y'all have the same goal intact. And from what Commissioner Myers just said and what Mike was just saying is things that Mike can do that Commissioner Myers can't do. It's things that Commissioner Myers can't do that Mike can do.
Vice versa.
Yeah, it sounds like a way to simply make it happen. Like, what I'm saying? It might not all happen, but I think it starts to become a betterment moving forward. So for like we just said, the coaches and the players, which it all becomes about, or military basketball at the end state. And then, you're going to have some disagreements. That's what families do.
So Wooten, I just want to Wooten put a comment up in here. He said NIL deals. That is being discussed. That is being discussed. At least at least at the higher echelon, we are talking about that. That is because here's the thing: if you guys are going to be out there, at least so let's just say things go the way that I think they should go. If we're on a higher platform, you guys should be able to market yourselves and what you do. And so I support that, and we've already talked about that. And that is a short-term discussion. I won't disclose, what's happening with it, but yeah, it's being discussed.
But what we see that's coming out for that. Hopefully, there'll be a conversation to be had further for a connection to see what it can do for the national military basketball tournament to be to help to put forth and the Military Basketball Association to go forth and do a little more to maybe help one another, i.e. pushing one another's cross promotions and stuff like that potentially.
Mike's tournament's going to get pushed every time. Every year we're going to push the NMBT on every platform that we have. So that's just, it happens every year.
I asked y'all gentlemen this, right? Going back to where you're saying not to sit up and throw Coach Rye under the bus again. We don't want to trigger Coach Rye in the situation.
Why you say again?
Okay, because y'all dragged him. Like maybe not y'all, but there were some people dragging Coach Rye.
First of all, what he said probably wasn't in the best framework. Okay, and again, like I said, we have differences, right? Mm-hmm. But what he said was what he said. And, if you notice, he got the comments were coming from the players who wanted to play.
I want to get I want to get players on
the coaches
that story.
who have to face a team like that. Okay, that is where they either remain silent or they didn't have any comment at all. And so the bottom line is, at the end of the day, if it was Fort Hood, I played that Fort Gordon team. They just was missing a few players. But if we were playing a stacked team, you go out there and you play the best you can. And, that's what happened with us with Herbert Field and Maxwell. They had some great ball players, and they had, and hopefully you win. If you don't, you don't. But when you start.
I was about to say, Commissioner Myers, of course, in the same thing, Mike, is it fair? And this is I just thought about this because you just said something key in my opinion, Commissioner Myers. You go and you play that team and you try to do your best versus that team. If you come out victorious versus that team, are you still talking about that team as a stacked team? So why is it that it's a stacked team when you take the L? Like, it's like, which one do you do, or even you?
So you can't decide to take if you played a stacked team, if you play them, right? Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes you don't have a choice, but when you play them and you lose, you can't be like, oh man, you know what? There was a stacked team, blah, blah, blah. if I'm playing a stack team, I'm gonna let you know before I play the game and after I play the game. I'm gonna be like, hey, this is not what I was used to, but all right, whatever, right? That's just the bottom line. I mean, but that's a way, man. Just because these guys want to come together and play basketball on the same team, I don't think you knock them for that. It's still basketball, right? It's still basketball. It's just
is it competitive basketball?
What tournament?
That's the question. Is it competitive
in basketball though?
Does it still?
Well, it depends on the rules of the tournament. I think you have to. It depends on the rules of the tournament. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they may not respect it. Ain't nobody scared because you play a stacked team. Nobody's scared. It's like whatever. You still got to play the game. But at the end of the day, if a tournament rules say, "Hey, pure teams," then that's what you go by. You don't try to lobby to get Mike to change the rules for his tournament.
Would say,
hey, Mike. I'm watching all the. I watch it. The only reason I came on this morning was I wanted to provide perspective on what we do, and what's coming up, and then also to say that we support the NMBT. I wanted to say that publicly that we support your team, and we also support the direction that you're moving. There's a bet that I got going on within my circle, and I ain't gonna say whatever, but it appears I'm gonna lose my bet. It appears that I'm gonna lose. Okay, but I would tell you the direction that you're moving with 2 free agents and not just a free for all for people to just come in to the Nationals and win it. I don't know if that's the direction you go to, but I think you have some. Dwayne, hey, Dwayne, I thought that was Dwayne behind you.
So I just thought about this, right?
He's in the next office over, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Technically, something that
right there.
Colton, I see Colton's in the comments. Colton, I need to get you on. I want to get a player's perspective of the conversation in which you're talking about. I know I've got commissioners, I got the athletic directors. I've talked to the coaches. I want to get the players' perspective.
That's
but
right.
Now, but check this, right?
But he says players play, hoopers hoop. It seems the coaches care and the players want to play the best. That's what I took from everything. Respect to what everybody has going on.
So real quick, is it technically? I see what Paris said. Is not an installation team considered supposedly a stack team? Would y'all? Is that a fair
Paris?
assessment?
I didn't see Paris's comment. That's a great comment. That's a great comment.
Yeah. But yeah, because
it's a team on the installation.
Because it's an installation. Yeah, it's an installation team, so it has to be stacked. You got the best players on the installation, right? Now when it becomes even more stacked, though. I think is when you grab someone from another installation to play with other stacked teams or a current.
I never cried, RJ. Sorry, I didn't cry. I just laced the guys just got on the court and played ball. They played ball. So I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, hey, your stack team. We played the Air Force squad that Mike had, and we played y'all. So I never said one word about that. Because at the end of the day,
what time is it in Hawaii?
What's that?
You said
what time is it in Hawaii?
I know. I don't understand. He's up kind of early, isn't he?
Yeah, it's early. It's early in Hawaii. It's early.
Wow, Trey, you have made it.
hey, you got like 20 people watching this joint.
Right. Well, that's just what we can see from Westcott because this doesn't take in consideration. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
But Mike said this. Sometimes all publicity is good. Did you not say that?
Yeah.
I think this is really good, man. Come on, RJ, don't do that, man. That's I didn't affect any rules in the second half, man. I mean.
Ooh, wow.
That's the kind of stuff like we're talking about a basketball game.
It's so crazy.
That's the reason why we can't move forward. A basketball game.
Wow.
And I mean that's just crazy, man. I mean you're supposed to be beating me if you up 13 points with like 2 minutes to go. I don't want to hear about it. There ain't no rules.
Just like Dallas was up 27 points and the Lakers came back. Shout out to Coach Cal.
Ain't nobody asked nothing.
Boy, y'all off the chain today.
Boy. But we
But
knew
you
it
know,
was coming.
why wouldn't it? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew it. We knew it.
Why wouldn't it? Like, we're
Yeah.
3-1 since the trade, since the moving. Like, we're doing great. We're doing great. You see that behind Commissioner Myers' head? We ain't talking about Brooklyn. We ain't talking about Brooklyn.
We don't have 3 superstars either. Thank you. Brooklyn does not. No, okay. Stacked teams. Are we talking about stacked teams?
You see that, Commissioner Myers? You see how the narrative changed?
Oh, we talking about stacked teams?
But if they was winning, just like we talking about the stacked
Bishop
teams,
just got his press credentials back. So he just got his press credentials back. So I don't know. I mean, he had I don't even. Hey, Mike, that 16-10 you talking about? Bishop had it. Okay, he was on permissive TDY for almost a week and a half, man. Listen, I love coming on here and talking this stuff, man. It's awesome. I love it.
It is. Hey, when my contract done at camp, best believe I'm going to leave base where I feel like we winning easy.
Really?
Wow,
that's what we doing?
That's how you feel. You end up messing up the validity of the game because teams start doing the same thing nationwide to compete. They are now. Now are these still considered base team tournies? Question.
Okay,
that's a great point.
That's a great point.
Because we've kind of intertwined the chords here. The National Military Basketball Tournament is not an open tournament. It's not the same as the Capital Classic. The Capital Classic is an open tournament where the only requirement is that everybody has an ID card, with the exception of the contractors. So they can form. That is the reason why teams like Cure Cancer is not in the rankings, because that is an open tournament, which is great. If they'd have won that tournament, they are the best. Just like Colton's team that won, they were within the rules. It's an open military tournament. That roster is legit, but that roster is not legit in regards to the National Military Basketball Tournament because you're only allowed 2 free agents. They had a team of all free agents. The whole team was free agents. No one was in Charleston. No one.
Can you get Colton on Trey? Or he said he free whenever.
No, I that message was to him. I'll talk to Colton offline.
Yeah,
okay. I can talk to him.
Well,
offline.
that's what. Yeah, hey, I think he was. I think he was responding to me saying I wanted to chat with players to get a conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, players' perspective. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I thought he was talking about. In regards to Charleston, South Carolina military base winning the Capital Classic, that is a legit win. That is an open tournament, open military tournament.
But it wouldn't work for NBT, the National Military Basketball
It's independent of the National Military Basketball Tournament. The National Military Basketball Tournament is not an open tournament.
No, Mike said, let me do an imitation of Mike. Mike said, I picked the teams.
He said that.
That's what he said.
He said
that's his tournament. And but that's legit. But what people can appreciate is that you're being transparent about it and you're saying this is the process. This is how it works. Just like the basketball council can tell you, everything for us is going to be decided on the basketball court. The people who get selected to coach have earned that spot to the NBA finals. So I think that's what a lot of coaches want. But, at the end of the day, man, this has been a very healthy discussion. I think it's great. I think it's great, man. Yeah. I'm happy to do it again.
I understand in regards to the NBA because of the way it's set up. I mean, you got your conferences. So you got your conferences. It's set up like the NBA. You got your conferences.
Yes, it is. It actually is
the blueprint.
And you have your Eastern Conference Finals. You have your Western Conference Finals, and it goes on from there.
Right.
Like I said, this year probably is the first year we're actually changing the format. We're trying to go to that to the pool play format as well. We're going to go to the 4 teams, 4 pools, top 2 from each pool, moves on.
Commendable. Definitely.
Yep. It was hard. It was almost impossible for a team to go to losers bracket and come through all those back-to-back games to
You
try
know
to
how
make it
many
to the
text
finals.
messages I got when I was down there? They was like, Mike, talk to Mike. I'm like, first of all, he ain't gonna listen to me. It's his tournament. But they were like, you got to play 7 games to win it, to get out. But I commend you on that change, because we're talking about safety, and that's the reason why when we first formed the NBA, with Coach Albers and me and Ace, decided, it was like, it's too much basketball.
But isn't that the whole thing, Commissioner Myers, that you never want to go to the losers bracket? Ain't that everybody's biggest fear? You have to, but you don't get in the losers bracket, because
Yeah,
that's in
but
all
if you
sports.
go to the losers bracket and then you suffer several cramps in every game because you're wearing out your body,
Body.
then it becomes on the tournament director. Like, are
As
you
far
really
as the
caring for these
safety.
athletes?
Are you
The
giving
safety.
them enough recovery time?
It falls back into that
Exactly.
DoD risk assessment.
Yeah,
Put up.
yeah.
And so we're going to try that in regards to the quarterfinals. But then when we get to the Final Four, once you get to the Final Four, you are guaranteed extra game, because now we've put in a consolation game. So in between, after the semifinal games, the 2 losers will get a break, because we're going to play that All-Star game. We're going to have that All-Star game played, and then we'll have the 2 losers play for third and finish up with the national championship game after that.
Hey, Ty is absolutely right. I remember watching Fort Carson, because we had played them the night before.
That was 5.5 hours. They played 4 games in 5.5 hours.
They did.
Ooh,
They played us the night before.
It goes back to what James says: you don't lose.
Don't lose that, and that's what I was speaking of in first place. When it comes down to it,
but
when I played in
here's the thing:
somebody has to lose.
If Lackland Air Force Base has ambulances parked outside Chaparral Gym, because people are dropping because or outside of Warhawk, that's not a good look. And I'm just being real. And I really commend you on that, Mike.
And part of that too,
right. What we
started seeing in our final games, in the finals, it just doesn't make for good basketball either.
Right. Exactly.
When you have one team that's really fresh and another team that came back and played 3 games back to back,
right,
and expect them to give their all. So we want good basketball. At the end of the day, we want good basketball where both teams are fresh.
Right.
One winner take all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want. At the end of the day, we want the best coming down to compete against the best, and let the chips fall where they may. Last team standing, crown the national champion.
And I that's a great thing. I mean, Claiborne is right. I felt really bad playing Coach Mayon in 16 for the national championship, and he had battled his way out of the losers bracket. It's not fair. That game was competitive for about 10 minutes, and then fatigue set in. That's not me playing Al Mayon at his best.
Right.
It felt. I mean, obviously, you want to win.
If Al Mayon had won,
that part.
That's what I keep. He's
playing the if game. He's gonna play the if game. If he won, he's gonna play the if game.
What I learned. I'm gonna always play anti-advocate to that. It's a bad situation, but it's possible. It's not completely unequivocally impossible.
Listen, I'm the coach. If Mike had came to me and said, "Hey, Mike, Coach Myers, do you want this game to be winner take all?" I'm gonna say, "Hell no. That's not the way your tournament rules say it. We're playing an if game if we lose." They try to do that to me in Korea. They don't even
that
ask
part,
me.
James. Real part. I think that's the same thing. I'm thinking. I'm trying to get past that. You know what I'm saying? But until the winner goes to spoils. If Al would have won, even though he had to fight back through 27 games to get to you when you're sitting up there waiting on him, if he would have won, the rhetoric is going to be, "We did this." I just look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like Vice, you know what I'm saying? It comes.
It's a no-win. Yeah.
Yeah. But now, of course, with the tournament pool play, it helps. I guess
it helps. It's going to reduce the amount of games that get played. I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So
I just don't have enough teams on Fort Polk to still do anything like that. So maybe that's what it is. I'm just a little butthurt.
Hey, you make sure you get them basketballs over to them guys.
I know, man. Hey, you know what? I did talk to your sports
spoke to her?
office, Trey.
To Candy? Yeah.
Yeah, we did connect.
My SFA.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys get the support you need.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Who won your whole tournament this weekend, Mr. Rich? I didn't
Well, it wasn't really a tournament, you know, it was just we just brought everybody down, play each other. It's like a little jamboree, but
jamboree, okay. Yeah.
Fort Hood held serve. They went 3-0 this week. They won all their games.
Okay.
Followed by Fort Sam, they went 2-1. Lackland were 1-2.
Were those, not to stir any pots or anything, were those all pure teams?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's fair across the board. No. Okay. I like it. And so that means Barksdale will go and
play with you guys, Mike?
Who? Colton? You talk about Colton?
Does Colton play with you guys or Fort? Yeah, does he play with you guys? Oh. Boy, you got some decisions to make, brother.
Hey, you still shake his head.
Hey, listen. All I'm saying is, I'm not in that situation. First of all, because I know Cal's on the basketball council, so I don't even deal with basketball. I have no say.
Cole said, "I say."
Colton talking about no. But I have no say in the basketball stuff, man. I just kind of look at it, but you have a decision to make when it comes to that. And I saw the comments, you know, I saw some stuff on Facebook, and whatever you do, man, like I said, I support whichever way you come down on it. So if you come down, you're like, hey, that team that Wayne has, he can play. It doesn't matter to me. I just know that's going to be the next couple of weeks are going to be interesting.
If you would have heard what I just said probably about 20 minutes ago.
I did.
The decision's already been made.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
They just got to get down and lay down, huh, Coach?
Almost looked like, again, did you not hear? That whole team is free agents.
Oh, wow. Look, Mike is making news today, man. First of all, I got my apology from Mike Richardson, so I appreciate that. No, I'm just but that's news, man.
If those guys been released, you think about it, they've been released from their programs, which Colton has been, Traps has been, because really, based upon what is going, let's go ahead and keep it out there. We're gonna keep it transparent.
Yeah.
Let's flip it. Let's say Cure Cancer won the Capital Classic. Okay, they won it. Let's say Cure Cancer won that. But we all know Cure Cancer is a combination of possibly was Benning. I saw
they had three guys. They had three guys. They had three guys that were outside, I believe, of Fort Benning.
Okay, yeah. So that changed their name to Cure Cancer. All right.
Right.
So at the end of the day, Cure Cancer is not going to get, and as Cure Cancer, they're not going to get a berth to the national.
I don't think that would be expected either.
Yeah. So again, on the flip side of that, that's the same thing basically what Wayne's team was.
Man, Mike, you making news today.
I asked this question.
All I'm saying is you are making news today, brother.
I asked this question, Mike. In the case of Cure Cancer, like you said, is a Benning team led by Coach Acevedo. However, Coach Acevedo's Fort Benning team, plus at least two of those free agents would be legit, correct? As long as they're not on a roster, as long as they're not on a roster that's active roster in your tournament.
Right. Man, it's looking like it looks like I'm gonna lose this bet, man. But okay. All right. All right.
So pretty much free agents.
This tournament this year, and I'm gonna blame the NBA. I'm gonna blame the NBA for this because all all those teams left the NBA.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So now it's really a big deal because they're not, these teams that left the NBA, they are not eligible to play in the NBA finals. So for them, it's national military basketball tournament or bust if they want to play in the postseason. So now, and so now they're all like, "Oh, we got to get in this tournament now." Before they had choices,
a bunch of choices. When they conference championship.
So they decided not to compete in the NBA this year, right? And so,
correct.
And which is fine, because and that's perfectly fine, because what we say is, when you start with us, you finish with us. So if they didn't start with us, we're not going to admit them in mid-season. At least that's what my understanding is from the council, so that they could be. So that they could, just swoop in at the last minute and compete for the NBA championship. We have a season and a process. So to your point, that's correct. That's correct.
And so what ended up happening, those teams, for whatever reason, that chose not to play in the conferences and do that and become independent, now the floodgates have opened up because, hey, we got a lot of teams that want to play in the National Military Basketball Tournament, but there's only 16 spots. So now everybody is like, hey, if you got 60-some teams compete for 16 spots, it's gonna get ugly. So now it's almost like the college football playoff right now.
And the portal.
Yeah, everybody campaigning, and that's it. So I guess we gotta wait till a month from yesterday.
Yep. You see what Uriah said. Military basketball just established a transfer portal.
Yeah.
There it
is. You got the military basketball.
Next, you're gonna have NIL deals going on.
No. The NBA, there's no transfer portal with what we do.
Well, that's what he's just saying. Military basketball is, I think,
you can have that, and that's fine. But if you have a transfer portal established in military basketball, where people can just pick up people, and
it would be bad. It'd be bad.
That's terrible because
Yeah. Just look at
that I don't agree with.
That part. That part, Rich.
Just look at college sports right now. That's the way it's going.
That part
goes as far back as LeBron.
It has y'all
to Miami.
As it definitely seems like it's making it hard for y'all from a competitive standpoint. Of course, they're trying to keep it because it's just like anything else. You close up one loophole, there's another one that presents itself until you completely shut it off altogether. Presumably what it sounds like between both organizations, like, yo, we just shutting it down. It's like, now what happens to the program, or what happens to it? Like, are people going to buy into it, or are they going to be like, you know what, I'm just good. I'm good. Next, that's how another organization pops up to sit up and fix what it is that they feel like they were lacking in the other organization. Yeah.
No, so to be completely honest with you, talking about the NMBT and the NBA.
Yeah. So as y'all close, it seems like as y'all close up certain loopholes and stuff like that, because I don't know, I can't get a temperament for what everyone's thinking with the two free agents. I know I hear Colton, he's in there, and him and Ray talking about, y'all are now all free agents and stuff like that. So It sounds like they're not too appreciative of that. So it's like, now you have that situation.
Part of that situation is a little different now. They got a lot of things going on, a lot of pieces that are happening right now over there. So clearly, because pretty much right after the Capital Classic, I received a text from one of the players on that team. So then they said, so we are not allowed. So are we allowed to come to the National? Well, apparently that team is in the CMAC. And I responded with, hey, you all can work with the CMAC. You can win the CMAC and get that bid, or you can get an at-large bid. But it won't be that roster that you just had in the Capital Classic. You would have to go with the roster that you have in the CMAC. And then I got news that they're possibly not going to play in the CMAC. Well, if they're not going to play in the CMAC because they haven't played in the games, they're not even affiliated with a base. So they're not affiliated with Charleston. And I had this conversation. We just had this conversation with Mike about an hour ago about these Charleston, South Carolina military basketball.
Like, who is that? Yeah, yeah.
Who are you affiliated with? You're not affiliated with Charleston Air Force Base because
no.
I talked to their director.
Oh. Hey, and then you know what's bad is when you call and you find out, hey, does this team have are they working with FSS? Are they working with MWR? And you find out that they're not. Your answer, his answer, Mike's answer is different from ours, right? Mike's answer is, hey, you probably need to go get a meeting with the sports office and try and get yourself set up.
Correct.
Ours is, let me refer you to Jason LaFasciano and the Military Basketball Council to see what we can do to get you in. So it's not what I see moving forward is I see us working together, Mike. I really do. And first of all, one, just to support your tournament. And I appreciate everything you're doing. And I think once
send him the link.
Yeah, I sent you to him.
Well, I gotta go. And I won't be on the call. I won't be on the call if we add another person. So but I will tell you that I think that the discussion that me and you've had today, it was long coming, and I can appreciate you. That's what I'm saying. That's the reason why we can't get together, because people want to see people fight and go at it, and they don't have anything positive to say, right? And then they talk behind your back and say you're a non-basketball player. They don't even know you, right? But they have something to say all the time. But you can call me, though. You can call me on my phone right after this call, RJ. So, but at the end of the day, Mike, you're doing great. I support your teams. I support everything you're doing because it's a great tournament. And that's what my team is reminding me all the time. The NMBT is still a great tournament. And so I appreciate what you and Dwayne do, every time I get down here. So I'm good.
What's going on, Coach Walcott?
I appreciate that, Mike.
Quick question.
And likewise.
Quick statements, real quick. Actually, it's a great conversation between you two. It needs to be had a lot more. Since you two are the two prominent faces. But first, Mr. Richardson, complete fall players from Charleston that played at Fort Lee, and they went to the championship and took Langley's full squad higher, and we lost by 2. That's point 1. So for you to say that Ray Robinson, Byron, David Turner, Calvin, and all those guys are not at Charleston is completely false. So you can get off that high horse with that. The second thing I need to say is don't take away.
But those 3 players are non-factors.
Listen up.
Except for Ray.
Listen up.
Ray is the only one right there when you start talking about it. Ray is dependent. How many of those guys are military?
Look,
they're dependent. That's not nobody's questioning that. Nobody's questioning those guys. They're not questioning those guys. They're questioning Ryan, they're questioning Colton, and they're questioning Traps. That's all legit. Neither one of them are at Charleston.
Okay. We lost him right now. Obviously he has Calvin has some
what he was getting at
was
he was getting at the guys at Charleston. The guys at Charleston are Mr. Faison, who is a DOD civilian, retired Air Force. Ray Robinson, one of the guards, he's a dependent. He's not active duty. He's a dependent. He's a spouse. And then you have the other guy, but that is not what the basketball community, the military basketball community is talking about. They're not talking about those guys. They are talking about Colton Ray, Ronald Traps, Christian Baird, who played, and then Ryan. That's the guys that they're talking about. And it's not a problem. like I said, in the open tournament and open forum, they are good to go. If you're playing in the battle for the badges and you're playing in open military tournaments, there's nothing wrong with that roster. They can win all day. They can play those games all day long. They can play a whole season like that. That's fine. It's just that roster does not qualify for the National Military Basketball Tournament. Because as it stands now, those 4 guys, and then there's another guy that came off the bench for them who's actually out here in JBSA as well. So out of those 4, they can have 2 of them, but the other 2 got to go somewhere else. Per the free agent rule.
So Curry from Colton, he says, but if there's a free agent rule, we get 2, and we're saying that who we're playing for. So how doesn't that qualify? No, he's not saying it doesn't qualify, Colton. I think he's clarifying that's how it qualifies, is that you have to have a roster that is associated with the installation, and then from that
there's a lot
association.
of
Go ahead,
a
Coach.
lot of teams. There's a lot of teams in this top 16 that aren't affiliated with the installation. I can name about 5 off the top of my head. So to me, it appears he's moving the goalpost, which is fine. It's his tournament. At the end of the day, he can do what he wants. That's not the problem. But if you set a precedent and someone meets it and then you move it, that's the issue. And then also, in addition, I don't care about, what people say, this, that, and the other. Military basketball has been going on for years, before I was even born. And people have been going to open tournaments, hooping, winning, losing, and so forth. And because of this weekend, for some reason, because I won, let's just be real. It's me. It's not the players. It's not everyone else. It's me. And because
When
we
you
went
say
up there
when you say
and we
me,
went up
wow,
there.
Coach Wayne, when
when-
you say me, what do you mean me? What do you mean by that?
I would, in my opinion, I think that I'm not the most liked, but I mean, I don't try to be liked. What I do is try to be me. I never deviate from who I am. I speak my mind. If something's wrong, I'll say it. If I am wrong, I will say I am absolutely wrong. I have no issues with that.
Now,
But if you sit here and say that people have not been playing in open tournaments with their guys, and it's never been an issue until this weekend, like, what are we talking about here? That's what I want to know. And then this base affiliated, half these darn teams aren't base affiliated. You know that, and I know that. So what are you talking about? Let's just be real. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but if you're going to say that, well, then I'm going to have to say who's not and who's this. And I know the whole community.
Well, put them out there then.
Mike, you know this. You know the community more than I do.
Exactly.
Come on now. So what are we talking about?
I know the community. I know the rosters. I know everything.
Yeah,
But
exactly. So
and you say it's because of you, Wayne. I'm gonna ask you this one question: who is the 2022 Jarvia P. Hartley Coach of the Year right now?
Correct. That's part. We forgot all
Who
about
is
that.
that?
So, Mike, I would appreciate that, but many would say behind the scenes that was a political move. I don't believe that it was. I like to think that I earned it, but I think because of the riffraff between the NBA and National Military Basketball Tournament that was going on, and obviously,
But you got awarded that before you even won the NBA Finals.
Based off of winning
off the wins, off the season that you had, up to the National Military Basketball Tournament. And then y'all went to the NBA Finals and won it. Remember, our tournament's first.
And people had issues with that as well. I mean, as you can see, the NBA champion is supposed to be represented on their page for how long?
That's not me.
Just answer the question. Is what?
From my point of view, it ain't personal with me because you are our current Coach of the Year.
So when when my team goes to the championship at Fort Lee and we lose to a great Langley team with 6 players, I mean, to say that Charleston doesn't have hoopers isn't accurate. As a matter of fact, one of our best players
I
in
didn't
military
say
basketball is Raymond Robinson, if not the. And he's at Charleston.
yes, and he's a dependent. He's a spouse.
He's a what?
He's a spouse. He's a
not a military personnel. He's not military personnel. He's a spouse.
He's a what? Do you really
Is he a
know what you're saying
dependent?
right
Is he a dependent or
No.
a spouse?
now? He's a DOD civilian. He works for the Navy.
Okay.
See, there you go. You're putting out false information. If you know the information, say it. If you don't say it. Ray he works for the Navy. He's a DOD civilian.
Okay.
He's not a spouse. That's wrong. You just put out false information to the public. And that's why I'm on here, to clear some of this up. And I shouldn't have to, because every time we get checked, I always win, because I'm always by the book. You put something out and we're going to go by it. True or false? I'll wait.
I'm as far as I know, yes.
No, there's no as far as I know. It's
Well,
yes,
as far as I
did.
know, when you came to my tournament last year, you were legit. They were
Yes.
legit.
And I could argue that team was stronger than the one I have now. Look, there's frustration with me because I don't think players like Christian Barrett, Trapp, Cole, Ray, all of them, they just hooped. They played a great tournament. They won in the open tournament. Everything should be targeted at me. If you guys don't like how I went into an open tournament and won, I can take that. If other coaches feel that, it was unfair in an open tournament to go play with that team or to play with all of them who's played for me, for exception of one, but then they can take that up with me behind closed doors. But all this public stuff and then making it like demeanor, their hard work and stuff like that, that's uncalled for.
I have said it from day one. Y'all won that tournament. It's an open tournament. Y'all did not break the rules. That is legit. And I've said it many times. Only thing I always wanted to clarify was, hey, the Capital Classic is an open military tournament. The National Military Basketball Tournament is not. That's what I'm saying. That's all I've been saying.
And if I correct you, last week you said that if Coach Wayne, when he submits his roster, if he gets an invite, he submits his roster. If the roster's good, then he's good, basically. And what he said, he's always good.
If my roster last year was good, well then this year should be no problem, because last year's roster was crazy. I'm just being honest. It was crazy. I mean, Alex played with me. Alex can't play with me this year. So, I mean, that alleviates him. Joe played with me. Joe can't play with me this year. That alleviates that. It's basically those 6 Charleston players that went to Fort Lee and lost in the championship, plus 2. That's it. I'd argue, I mean, we'll still make something shake, but I don't understand I don't know. This is just crazy.
And I get that's another reason, like, say the conversation is out, what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of clarity now that's going on and stuff with people starting to see, in which, in my opinion, just being a part of this. Go ahead, Coach.
I'll task y'all to do one thing.
Yes, sir.
Besides my team winning the Capital Classic, look at all those other teams and you tell me if they weren't constructed the same way. And now I'll give you one more task. Look at Nationals last year's rosters and look at mine and see if they're not constructed in the same way. The only difference is that when you win, it now becomes an issue. That's fact.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. It was not last year's format different from how you've set up currently now for this coming year?
An actual playing format, yes.
Yes.
But the rules are still the same.
Okay.
The rules didn't change.
Okay. But the playing format has changed.
Yes. The playing format, we're going to a pool play this year.
Okay.
Pool play.
So it's always been 2 free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
But besides my frustration, which I mean, I'm cool. It's more frustration because of the players. They deserve to be rewarded for their hard work. I mean, me on the other hand, it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, people out there know that I'm dealing with bigger stuff than what basketball's got going on right now. So I'm not really putting too much attention to it. But what I will say is that today's conversation was great. It was great to see both mics on the call.
That part.
How far that would go, I have no idea. But you can always start somewhere. And for me, it's best that as Black men, we start doing things together and fixing our issues instead of fighting each other. I have a saying out there that I constantly say, it be your own people. But at some point, we need to be our own people and help each other and where we need to be instead of just fighting and stuff like that. Life's too short. It really isn't that serious.
Facts.
That's all I got, man.
I agree. Greatly
Appreciate
appreciate you coming on, Coach Wayne and stuff like that. Let's go SC team, Lakers, all that. So that's that's our time for today. Of course, I'm like I said, I'm gonna try to reach out to Colton and get a couple of players and see. I wanted a player's perspective. We always tend to get the commissioners and athletic directors and coaches and their perspective, but we have yet to have players' perspective in reference to more so the competitive, that competitive nature, and competing. Everyone wants to compete. You want to see. I know it. Of course, it's going to be a good thing to sit up and say, "Hey, we beat our top rated team, beat this top rated team." But then you have the lesser teams sometimes in which they can't get those because, like Coach Wayne just strictly stated, you get players that gravitate towards Coach Wayne. They play with Coach Wayne. It start, and then of course you Coach Urias and then all the other coaches, Coach Parrish, Coach Collins, all that type of stuff, Anderson. And then that's where you get those teams and stuff like that. So I got you, Sergeant Major. So I'll be sure to tap in and hit you up. That's what it is, and that's what it comes about. But we want to get the perspective of the players. Of course, it's not scaring the pot. It's honestly actually trying to get some clarity and stuff like that. And hopefully people are listening, and then that's how you start to invoke change. Mr. Richardson's a change agent, Commissioner Myers a change agent, in which we had, like Coach Wayne was just saying, hopefully that conversation that goes further to where there's an understanding and you start to build and fix the situation, which is for military basketball. Of course, from me and Mr. Richardson's standpoint, we're talking military basketball, but for us, it's armed forces or our respective communities sports. Like I have to sit up and look at softball, rugby now, unbeknownst to me, softball, soccer, and all that, as well as basketball. And then if I had it my way, flag football, but I'm working on that some way. Yeah. So that type of stuff is different from a DoD standpoint. But I mean,
don't forget kickball.
Well, see, we haven't even approached that yet. So it'd be interesting. But you know what? I'm always for it. I want different things. And maybe that's going to bring me more. But I'm a small guy, right? Until I'll be lobbying other places like, hey, I'm trying to be a free agent. Pick me up. But in any case, conversations are being had, it's being pushed forward, and the only way, first, there's a conversation. Secondly, the problem, engage the problem, and go from there. So greatly appreciate, as Commissioner Myers says, much respect to Mike and Dwayne. Hopefully start working towards to build a better project. And make this whole, like you said, the platform a whole lot bigger, and now you can engage more. So greatly, great show, in my opinion. It did what it did what it had to do. Yeah. And like you said, had the Texas two-step this last weekend. They got it in. Shout out to Fort Phantom Warrior 3. Was it 3-1, 3-0?
They went 3-0. They went undefeated. 3-0.
Phantom Warriors. And going from there. How long? We about a month and a half? Almost a month and a half. Yeah.
This week's rankings will be coming out probably after lunch.
Okay.
Nice.
So all that, what you appreciate, Cal. I didn't get to get on the Mavericks head, but greatly appreciate it. Keeping off the schedule. Hey, I told y'all next up Memphis. We gotta get Memphis next up. But We are committed to that work. I'm sorry, achieve always. So you know what I'm saying? Great show today. Gentlemen, of course, before you get out, any last words, anything to say, of course?
I want to give a shout out to Mike Myers. Nice dialogue, sir. Look forward to communicating with you in the future. Want to see you out and about.
All right,
Mike. They needed somebody. They need to chat with you.
That's Al Mayon. So
yeah.
Okay, Colton. I want to tap in. I want to hit you up, man, and see what we can get on the dock. I'd like to do actually Thursday.
Hey, Colton, tell Colton get to work. He don't have no job, man.
I got you, Colton. I'll hit you up, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
So greatly appreciate Bishop. Go ahead and take us out, brother.
Hey, man. First of all, I want to say, like I said, like my man said, Trey. Thanks to both Mikes, Mike Myers as well as Mike Richardson, man, for coming on here and getting things aired out the best way they knew how to do it, and a great dialogue between the two of them. We really appreciate y'all coming on here, getting recognition for NBA basketball, for military basketball as a whole. You know, we a lot of people don't know, as you just seen some of the comments, people are now wanting to see some of the gameplay because of the conversations in which y'all are having about the whole organization and about military basketball. So that's a good thing. They're asking for, where can I watch it? Is it YouTube and things of that nature? So obviously it's something that people want to see, and yeah, it's definitely growing, and people want to see it. With that, man, we appreciate each and every one of y'all. Make sure y'all tune in every day, Monday through Friday, from 0900 to 1100 hours for you civilian personnel. That's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on First Formation. Myself, Trey, and some future guests coming on throughout the week and things of that nature. Y'all be sure to enjoy your Monday. Last 2 days of Black History Month. Thank you all for tuning in. Y'all have a great Monday, and we will holler at y'all on tomorrow. Y'all be easy, y'all be safe, and we out of here. Peace. Psi Phi Military Fraternity in.